Hey guys, what is up? It's me Jealous again, and we're back for another Photoshop tutorial. And today we're gonna be creating this photo manipulation. I've also put the links of the images that I used in the description down below. So without further ado, let's get started. Okay, so first let's drag our main image. And now let's just create a selection, so press P for the pencil and create a selection around the subject. So now right click, make selection and click OK. And now press Ctrl J to duplicate the selection. And let's also create a selection for the man's reflection in the water. After that, let's duplicate this one by pressing Ctrl J. So now we have our selection for our subject and the reflection. Now let's just use an eraser tool to remove those unnecessary parts. And let's rename this one to man, and the other one man's reflection. Okay, now let's drag our wings and let's just reposition this one to our preference. So you can press Ctrl T to transform or adjust the size of the image or reposition it. So now let's duplicate the wing, press Ctrl T, right click and flip vertical. And we're gonna be using this one as our reflection. Let's rename this one to Wings Reflection and the other one for Wings. And let's create a layer mask on this one, and with the brush tool, with a black foreground and a soft round brush. And let's just remove this part here, because originally there's a wire, something like a wire over here. So we can just lower the flow to create a smoother transition. Also this part here. And let's also create a layer mask for our man's reflection layer. And let's just remove this hard edges. Okay, so let's go over to our wings reflection layer. Let's create an adjustment layer, your saturation, create clipping mask, colorize, and let's put some orange color to this one. Maybe this one, so that it matches that of the man's reflection, which is a little bit of orange. So let's just play around with the slider so that we can get our desired look or the orange color. And now we can drag our third image, which is we're gonna be using for our feather. So let's just use a lasso tool by pressing L and create a selection around the feather. Then let's go over to select, select and mask. And let's use a refine edge brush tool and just remove those outer parts. And if you're satisfied with it, just click OK. Now press Ctrl J in your keyboard to duplicate our selection. And just delete this one. And let's rename this one to Feather. Let's just drag this one over here and let's duplicate this one. And let's put some feathers around our subject. So you can hold the Alt key in your keyboard to resize proportionately. So just hold the Alt key then drag to duplicate. So just try to be creative on this one and add some feathers wherever you like. And let's press Ctrl T and warp, and let's just create a wavy effect on this one. So there you go. Maybe make this one smaller. And let's put another here. Okay, so let's choose this feather over here. Let's go and convert to smart object, then go to filter, blur, and Gaussian blur. Let's put a radius here of about, I think, 13 or 15. And let's just resize this one by pressing Ctrl T. And maybe let's put this one up here, and let's hold the Ctrl key in your keyboard to select multiple layers and just press Ctrl J to duplicate. So press Ctrl T, right click and flip vertical, and just put it over here. And now we can group this one by pressing Ctrl G to group our feather layers. So we're gonna be adding the same adjustment to this one like what we did in our wings. So let's just hold the Alt key in our keyboard, select this adjustment layer, and put it above our grouped feather layer. So press the Alt key again and just hover your mouse in between and just click to create a clipping mask. And let's rename this one to Feathers Reflection, and let's group the other three feathers, and let's rename them to Feathers. Now let's drag our fire image. So this is gonna be something like our portal for this photo manipulation. And let's choose a blending mode. So from normal to screen. So first we're gonna create a layer mask for this one and just remove those unnecessary parts. So we can't really see our fire here since our background is really light and we're using a screen blending mode. So in order for our fire image to be seen, which is in a screen blending mode, we need to create a dark background. So for this one, let's just create a new layer below the fire layer. Let's choose a brush tool with a black foreground, and let's just brush around the fire so that it can be seen. So let's just keep painting those black background so that the fire can be seen more. And you can also use eraser tool to remove those unnecessary parts or the black parts. So you can play around with the flow to create a better transition. Okay, so now let's group these two layers and let's rename this one to fire. And let's duplicate this one, press Ctrl T and flip vertical. So this is gonna be our reflection. And we're just gonna copy our adjustment layer from our wings reflection and just put it above our fire copy. And just create a clipping mask by pressing the Alt key in our keyboard. And maybe just lower the opacity. Okay, so now let's open up our fire copy. Let's open our fire layer. Let's go to the layer mask. And with the brush tool with the black foreground, let's remove those unnecessary parts. Maybe let's reduce the opacity more. So now it's time to create some highlights. So let's select our man layer. Let's create an adjustment layer, create a clipping mask, colorize, and let's choose an orange for this one. So let's just increase the saturation and also the lightness, and just press Ctrl I to invert the layer mask. And with the brush tool with the white foreground, we just paint in some highlights. So just remember, when in a layer mask, white foreground to paint over the image and black foreground to erase. So let's add some highlights from here and there. And also we can use blend if on this one, so just go to effects and blending options and just hold the Alt key in your keyboard to split this one and reduce the highlights on those areas that are supposed to be dark. And just click OK whenever you're satisfied. So we're gonna be doing the same thing for our wings, so let's just hold the Alt key and copy this adjustment layer. Press the Alt key and left mouse button and create a clipping mask. And let's add our highlights to our wings. So we can also open up our blend if on this one by double clicking this. And let's just maybe reduce this one to here, so that more highlights appear, and let's just paint some more highlights. And we're also gonna be doing the same thing for our feathers. Of course, we're gonna be doing the same thing for our reflection. So we're gonna be adding some highlights from here and there to create or to make it more realistic. So there we go, and we're done with all our highlights. So let's go to our uppermost layer and create new layer by clicking this icon. And with the brush tool and a white foreground, let's create some smoke effect for this one. Let's just lower the flow and let's just softly paint in some smoke effect. So this is adding this smoke effect is really just optional. So it's just up to you which looks better. So now let's just resize this one. Let's make this one bigger. So press Ctrl T. And of course for our reflection. And let's go over to our wings reflection layer and let's choose a smudge tool and let's just smudge this wings over here to create those water reflection effect like our man's reflection. So let's also do the same thing for our feathers. And I think we're just not gonna be using our smoke effect on this one, so let's go over to our feather copy layer, press Ctrl Alt Shift E to create a merge layer of all the layers. So now let's go to filter and choose camera raw filter. So let's just adjust some of the areas here or the sliders here to create a better effect on the overall photo manipulation. So there are really no right or wrong here, it's just up to your preference. And there we go, we are already done with our photo manipulation. And I hope that you've learned something from this tutorial, and if you do, just hit the like button and notification bell, and don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. See you on my next video.